We'll call to order the meeting of the Haverford Township Zoning Hearing Board, Thursday, February 6, 2025. Present at the front table to my far left is Jessica Vitale, a voting member.
Evening.
Ed McGargy, a voting member. To my left is Ernie Angelos, our solicitor.
Good evening.
Bill Rhodes, a voting member. Jesse Poyton, a voting member. Jonathan Mount, Haverford Township Zoning Officer. We have one decision this evening and one continued case. The decision is, before we begin, Billy, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Please rise and repeat after me. Pledge allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
When I see a poll, I don't. Thanks. The decision is case Z 24-42. Chuck Speed and Nellie Smout, owners of 2704 Chestnut Avenue, Ardmore, PA, DC folio number 2206 006340. Applicants seek a variance from section 182-204B1 to create two single-family residences on a single parcel where only one is permitted. Good enough?
Just a point of clarification, this is application 24-43, right? Yep.
Okay, Bill? You want to take that decision?
Sure. With respect to case 24-43, I would vote to approve the requested relief subject to the following conditions. Number one, the rear unit the main house must be owner occupied at all times when the rear unit is being rented. Two, no short-term rentals of the rear unit. Three, no other rentals of any other improvements on the property. Four, there may be no more than two occupants in the rear unit, none of whom shall be students. Five, the applicant shall maintain at all times at least 4 parking spaces off-street. 6, there can be no expansion or enlargement of the rear unit or the attached shed beyond its existing square footage. 7, there may be no connections, physical connections between the main house and the rear unit, and no expansion or enlargement of the main house closer to the rental unit or the rear unit. 8, all utilities for both the main house and the rental unit shall be under single account, one account for each utility. And the project, approved within, completed and all that within 1 year of accordance with the notes of testimony.
Okay. Jessica?
I would vote to deny the application.
Ed?
I vote to deny the application.
Jesse?
I agree.
So do I. That application is approved with those conditions, 3-2. Our new case this evening is Z 24-38, Sean and Casey Power, owners of 17 Ellis Road, Havertown, PA, DC folio number 2203 00966600, who seek a variance from the provisions of section 182-206C6A to allow a porch roof to be constructed within 1 feet 2 inches of the property line, where the required side yard setback is 8 feet. The roof encroaches 6 feet 10 inches into the required setback. Property is zoned R4 and located in the 3rd ward. Jim, how you doing, Jim?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Byrne. Attorney ID number is 41619. Happy to be before you folks when it's not 1 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you.
So I'm here tonight and I represent Sean and Casey Powers are here. I'll have one witness tonight. My case is a case that they live at 17 Ellis Road in Havertown. It's a house that was built in 1921. They moved in about 10 years ago and taken a lot of steps to fix the house up, bring it up to some modern standards, and we'll have some photographs to show you. They hired an architect and put on a nice addition on their house. The house originally had a patio on the side of the house that was cement underlying slate. They took that out and replaced it with a more modern deck. What they did though too is they put a roof on the over the patio, and the roof is an open air, or it made it an open air patio, but there is a roof on there. Reasons they did that is would improve, first improve their living space and make the we really suggest would make the house look better and more modern and be a nice home. They also are better able to control water runoff. I don't know if you folks have been there, but we do have a picture here tonight. In that area, a lot of the stormwater systems are back from 1921, so you have the like the cement gullies running between the property. So what they have put in is a gutter system with extra large gutters that'll capture more rainwater, which then goes down through a stone bed and then discharges into their backyard. So I'm only going to have one witness tonight, and that will be Mr. Powers. And with your permission, I would ask that. Call him. Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
Charles.
Hello, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And your full name and address for the record?
Sean Powers, 17 Ellis Road, Haverford Township, Pennsylvania.
Okay, Sean, I'm going to ask you some questions here, all right? I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up because it's going, are you folks recording these now?
Yes.
So it's going on a recording, and also the court reporter, if we don't talk loud enough, she won't be able to hear what we're saying.
Okay, yep.
The second thing is a little bit different when you're in a hearing setting like this, a regular conversation. By that I mean, since the court reporter is taking down the testimony, I'm going to ask you questions. You may want to know the answer and want to jump in, but then the transcript.
Okay,
Okay, so we can't talk on top of each other, right?
very good.
Okay, so you heard me on my opening there, and let me ask you first, do you own the property at 17 Ellis Road?
I do.
And when did you purchase that?
We purchased it in May of 2015.
Okay. And who lives in that home?
Myself, my wife Casey, and our 5 children.
Okay. How old are your children?
11, 9, 7, and twins that are 4.
So tell me about the house when you first purchased it. When was the house built?
House was built in 1923. We purchased it from a family, the Delaney's. When we purchased the home in May, we did a renovation when we first bought the home.
What condition was it in when you first bought
It was in decent condition. It was a well-maintained home, however dated. There were some updates done. I think the Delaney's, the kitchen they put in was probably 15 to 20 years old at that point in time. They only had one full bathroom in the home, and they did not have central air. So when we bought it in May, we did some work to it, mostly just interior work at the time. We added a bath, added central air, modernized the kitchen, things like that. Redid the hardwood floors, but mostly cosmetic work and bringing things up to speed. Hardwired smoke detectors for life safety and things like that.
it? Okay. And you enjoyed the neighborhood, I guess?
Absolutely, yeah, we love the neighborhood.
Renovations you did to your house?
I'm sorry?
The renovations you enjoyed?
Oh, yeah.
You enjoyed the neighborhood?
Very much so.
Okay. And did you come a time recently when you?
There did. So as I mentioned, I have 5 children. We, during COVID, were surprised with having twins. So, all of a sudden, life's changing a little bit. Realized the need for more space. Maybe not immediately, but down the road for sure.
I've heard that was a symptom of
Yeah, it was. So we, in, I guess it was June of 2023, we applied and got building permits to add a rear addition. We had a deck on the home in the rear. We basically removed the deck, and the addition took the space of the deck, and we went up 3 floors.
Okay. Did you have another deck on, or not a deck, but a patio?
There was a patio off to the side where, we had, off of the deck where, there was a grill and stuff like that.
Okay. Did you hire an architect in connection with this addition?
I did.
Okay. And who was that?
Her name is Cheryl Pelos.
Okay. And where's
She lives in Northeast Philadelphia. She worked for a big firm for, I think, 20 years, and then became a mother and was raising her children, then recently just got back into the workforce, I'd say 5 years ago.
Okay. I want to show you what I've had marked as exhibits A1 and 2. Could you just tell the board what that is?
Yeah, so in Exhibit A1, to the left-hand side, this is the as-built of the existing home today, okay? So you can see the rear addition, if you look at the third picture, the elevations, rear addition, and then the plot plan. The question, the reason we're here tonight is for the porch roof on the, I guess the picture in the middle, the roof off to the side on the right there that Jim mentioned is open air and, open on 3 sides, and comes off of our family room.
Mr. Byrne, could we identify we got 2 plans in our packets.
I'm sorry.
Is this A1?
They're both A1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's A1. Yeah, so,
That's A1.
Okay, wait, hang on one second. I'm sorry.
Sorry, my fault, but
We can end. We
Yeah,
can
you
end this up for distribution if you like.
Well,
But-
Jimmy-
because I took the 2 pages, made them A1 and A2.
So this will be A2.
yes, that's A2. Yep.
thank you.
You'll identify it for the record, Jimmy, but I just wanted to,
Right, okay.
go ahead,
So
Sean.
would you like, are you finished testifying as to those documents there?
Yeah, so if we just want to touch on A2 is just a floor plan of the finished product, basically from the inside.
And when you made those additions, did you, and I forget her name already, the architect?
Cheryl, yes.
Yeah, did you secure permits for that?
Yes, we did.
Renovation, okay. Yeah, and can we just maybe pass them on? Now, after you got the renovations done, did you talked a little bit about it, your house, you had another porch, right, a side,
Correct.
I'm saying porch, because patio, right?
Patio, yeah.
Okay. What was that, how was that patio built?
So it was slate, it was the old patio?
The old patio?
Yeah, it was slate and it was concrete base.
Okay, and did you want to improve that patio?
We did.
And why did you want to do that?
Because after the foundation for the new addition was dug and the footings and all were done, a lot of that patio was damaged just from the backhoe and digging and things like that. So, it was either match an old, 30 or I don't even know if we could find a stone that would match or put, newer stuff down.
Okay. And did you put a newer patio on?
We did.
Okay. And ultimately, did you put a roof on?
Yes, we did.
Did you get all the required permits for that?
No, at the time, honestly, I didn't know I needed a permit for the roof, being that I know it's a structure, but, the fact that it wasn't, going into the ground or anything, I honestly thought it was allowed to be there. So no, I did not get a permit for the roof. That was not on the permits.
Now, you said it's an open air.
Yes.
Patio or porch. What's the roof, well, let me show you the pictures. Okay. You would take a look at Exhibit A3. Tell me what that
Yeah, so Exhibit A3, this is just looking out from the patio, looking into my rear yard. If you look, the post on your left-hand side of the picture, you can see the downspout coming down, as you mentioned, for stormwater runoff that drains back into my yard. the area there prior to this was really just overgrown and, unused space that was, unmaintained, to be honest with you. So, I viewed it as a significant improvement.
And let me just go through a couple of these pictures so that we can, then we'll talk a little
Sure.
bit more about it. Can you tell me what?
Could we share those?
Yeah,
with us?
sure.
Yes, of course.
Just so we know what he's talking
Sure.
about.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I don't have copies tonight. Or with somebody here. Father kept me in courtroom till 6 o'clock at night. So, Exhibit A4, would you tell us what that is?
Sure. Exhibit A4, this is just a view from my rear yard looking onward towards the street of the patio. And you can see the construction of it and really just what it looks like.
I'm going to hand you A5, okay?
Yep.
Tell us what A5 is.
Yeah, A5 is just more of a detailed picture. Again, kind of, just showing the scope and the space. You can see some of the greenery around that, was, again, once overgrown, that now it's cleared out and it's a nice, dry and habitable place to be outside.
A6?
A6 is really just a playoff of A1, again, just really showing just a different vantage point, looking in the rear yard, again, showing that, where the downspout comes down to, for water runoff, and, gives you an idea of, the space for things to, for the water to run off.
And I think you did explain it, but you did talk about where the water, you're saying runoff, does it go through some rocks?
Yeah, so it runs down the porch roof line and then detonates into a downspout, which goes onto, down to the ground level, over river rock, and then into the yard.
Okay, into your yard?
Correct.
Okay. Have you had any problems with water in your backyard?
No, the area in general has had water problems. There's actually, I've been told that there's a spring that runs behind my house that connects all the way down into the Marion East Golf Course. So neighbors of mine, particularly one neighbor at 3 Ellis Road, has had significant pooling in their backyard. They've had the township out to look at it, and no one can really figure it out, other than when it rains, there's standing water for a while. I do get a little bit of standing water at the very rear in my yard on a heavy downpour,
Right.
but then it dissipates after about an hour or so.
I have a daughter that lives on.
Oh, yeah, on Hermosa, or Robin Lane.
Robin Lane.
Yeah.
And you know her,
Yes.
correct? And you've been there before?
Yes,
And they have some puddling in their backyard as well. Same general area, same type of.
exactly, yeah.
Let me show you what I marked as A7.
Yep. Again, A7, just to give, really a good description to the panel here of, what the aesthetically, the porch looks like and, how it, it's inside of my property line and, basically what we did.
Let me just get them.
Yeah.
Now, the neighborhood itself was mainly houses that were built around the same era, 19.
To my knowledge, yeah, in the 20s to 30s, somewhere a little bit.
And how does the neighborhood in general take care of water runoff? Let me show you a picture that's marked as Exhibit A.
Yep.
So I'm not.
Yeah, so there's a number of these throughout the area. This is on my street, this picture, where I guess when these homes, I don't know if these were done after the homes were built to, try to remediate water issues, but, they basically had gullies that ran in between the homes to take water runoff out to the sewers and go its natural way. These used to be, that I've been told, they used to be between every home on the street, and it's not the case now. Now, this is the opposite side of the street of mine, but, basically a lot of people, from what I've heard from people in the neighborhood and neighbors I speak to, that, over time, people built additions, put garages in, put, sheds up, whatever, and basically, this was kind of in the way, so they got rid of them.
And did you talk to some of the people in your neighborhood with respect to this project or this roof?
I did, yeah.
When I say this roof, does what comes to my mind a little bit when I hear about it, old man with retractable awning.
Yeah, so that's kind of the, one of the things that, it serves the same purpose as a retractable awning, and it just extends over that porch. I just thought from an aesthetic standpoint and, being a neighborhood that I value and value the homes that are nice and, everybody takes care of their properties, I thought having a non-retractable awning would be aesthetically nicer as well as serve a better purpose for the water runoff and things like that.
Right. Now, you said that the slate and cement patio that was there originally, right?
Yes.
What you have built, is it exactly the same size?
It's a little larger.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much larger?
I would say maybe 2 feet by maybe 5 feet.
Okay. Right. And I asked you if you talked to some neighbors. Did you
Yeah.
get walk around the petition?
I did, yeah. And so for the panel, I have a number of signatures from neighboring properties on both Ellis Road, Clearfield, that, neighbors directly behind me, neighbors on the neighboring street as well, Woodcroft and Golfview, that all were very much in support of what I did. So, I don't know if that's helpful, but, I value, I want to have a good relationship with everyone in my neighborhood, and, I try to be respectful and I want to make my house nice so it makes the next house nice. So I'm very open to people about what I'm doing, people are interested too. So I did go around and told them about this hearing and just asked if they'd be in support of what I did. And that's what this illustrates. Yep.
And I think I already asked you this probably before time.
Sure.
The fact that you didn't get a permit, you would be willing to pay whatever permit fees are in connection with this.
Yeah, so just so you know, I did actually, when this first came to light, the inspectors came out and they issued me a citation for not having a permit for the porch roof. So I did pay a fine for that. And then that's when I started the process of being here tonight. So yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to, if there's an additional permit fee, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
With the board, please, that would be my one witness that I have tonight. I know there's a few people here that want to speak to the issue. Would you wait till would you rather me wait till they make their comments before I make a short closing?
May as well, Jim.
Yeah.
because There may be something you want
No,
to.
maybe I could address it. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I have any questions for Mr. Powers?
Yeah. Jessica?
Mr. Powell, did you ever talk to your architect about this roof structure?
Not until, well, she drew it up on the plans, yes.
She drew the roof of the patio on the plans.
Not on the original plans. When I decided I was going to do the roof, then she drew me a separate drawing for that.
And did she stamp those drawings?
I am not sure.
Okay.
They were submitted though after the fact, things were submitted to the township.
And did the township approve those?
They did not because it didn't meet the setback requirements.
So just, my understanding of the residential building code is that projections less than 2 feet from the property line are not allowed, period, by code.
Okay.
Because it's a fire safety issue. And I am assuming that or can you confirm if the roof you constructed has any fire rating to it?
It does have fire rating.
What is the fire rating?
I'd have to look, but I know it does have fire rating.
Okay.
I believe it's probably R19 or R13.
Not an insulation.
Okay, I'll have to look into that, but I'm sure it does have fire rating.
I don't have any other questions.
Ed?
Yeah, I'm hearing that there was standing water issue in your backyard. Is that correct?
There was. Yes.
Wasn't no standing water issue under the patio?
No, so the alleys of the house, there was standing water issue, yes. And honestly, my standing water issue in the rear of the yard is really not an issue. It's all the way in the back of my yard, back by a flower bed.
Okay, but the standing water issue is going to be, that's where you're going to discharge your stone bed to the standing water? In other words, you have this new patio with new roof, and you're going to extend pipes from a stone bed to discharge in your backyard, right?
Correct.
You're not correcting the standing water issue.
Well, I am on the side of the house, yes. And the distance from where that discharges to where the back of the house issue is,
So did the standing water stand on your patio?
that just off of the patio, yeah, between the two homes.
I got you. I have no other questions.
Bill?
Yeah, can I see the pictures, the exhibits? Thanks. So I'm just trying to make sure I understand. When you got your permit,
Yes,
you enclosed the old patio and built over that?
no,
No, okay, so the old patio is where the new patio is. But
Correct.
the new patio is roughly 2 feet deeper or wider, or 5 feet deeper?
wider and 5 feet deeper.
5 feet deeper, closer to the side yard fence?
No, closer to my rear yard.
5 feet closer to your rear yard?
Yeah.
But 2 feet closer to your side yard fence?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And and then I think your testimony was that you're controlling, the roof is giving you an ability to sort of manage the rainfall or stormwater, and it gets connected by pipe into,
So it's just a roof with an oversized gutter, 6-inch gutter,
yeah,
to a downspout in my rear yard.
yeah.
Comes down to the downspout and then goes over River Rock into the yard.
So I'm looking at Exhibit A4. So the river rock is the rock that's this small little pile of stones next to the overturned watering can?
Yeah.
So that that would appear to be 6 inches of rock?
No, it's larger. That picture, I mean, it's larger now. I don't know
Okay.
when that picture was taken, but no, I'd say it's about 4 feet.
4 feet, okay.
Yeah.
And, but it's right on the property, it's right next to the fence.
Correct.
So how do you know that water just doesn't go right under the fence into your neighbor's property?
Well, it very well could. So my fence, it very well could, to answer your question. There's vegetation all on the other side of that fence, okay? So it's not it's not a groomed yard. It's holly bushes that are 12 feet tall and things like that. So it's not, and it's beyond the neighboring house. So if it was going under the fence and causing an issue in that yard, it would be in the yard. It wouldn't be to the house.
Okay, and so I heard in the earlier testimony references to pipes twice. So what you're talking about is the downspout?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that was just a yeah.
Okay, so it's really just a gutter to a downspout to a surface discharge right on the property line, although over a several feet of
Of River Rock.
small stone,
Yeah, River Rock.
4 or 5 inch type diameter, loose though.
Yeah, it's dug out and it's packed down. It's dug down, I think, 10 inches.
Right. And so where your new columns are that are carrying columns for the weight of the new ceiling and the new roof, those touch down inside the setback and beyond the original patio boundary. Patio dimensions. I'm looking at Exhibit A4 where I see 2 columns that hold up the outer edges of this new roof.
Right,
And where they touch down is beyond the original patio.
yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Jesse,
Yeah, can I have that photo, please?
Yep,
you want them all?
Yeah, sure.
sorry.
Well, so I'm looking at A1 and I'm looking at A4, and I'm seeing some differences from the way that the drawing depicts this work. So I might just point that out for the record that, you know, that it appears different. So you had testified that this was a record drawing of what was built. And coming back to your architect that we've mentioned, and you said that they updated the drawings. Was that for it to be built, but not?
So I did not have a permit for the roof.
Right. We understand that.
So the roof was built, and then when this came to light, I had asked her to do the drawings.
I see.
Yeah.
For this as an
Exactly.
exhibit. Okay. I
Yes.
see. Did your architect have? Do you or your architect have experience pulling permits in Haverford Township for building construction?
Yes.
Both you or the architect?
Yes.
So is it fair to say that you should have known that this roof structure needed a permit?
Honestly, I didn't consider it to be a building structure, and because, you know, as Jim, when we were talking earlier, mentioned, you know, I thought about just doing a retractable awning, you know, that would cover the same amount of space and all. But, you know, I thought aesthetically it would look nicer being more finished and would serve another purpose with the stormwater issues.
You mentioned you have experience pulling permits. What kind of experience do you have pulling permits?
So I'm a licensed contractor in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay. Did you do all the construction yourself?
I did not.
Okay. The roof, you mentioned that you have an oversized gutter, a 6-inch gutter.
Yes.
But it appears that the edge of the roof is very close to the fence and higher. Are there ever times when water runoff overshoots the gutter and lands in your neighbor's property?
I mean, sure. I'm not out there when it's windy and blowing, but yeah, I'm sure there is. Yeah. I mean, but I think the gutter captures a lot more than it would have if it wasn't there.
But would any water get shot over into your neighbor's property if this roof wasn't there?
Yeah. The wind's blowing.
You're collecting water and possibly sending it over to your neighbor's fence is the concern, I think. Did you explore other alternatives, like to deal with this drainage? Did you look at putting in a French drain?
I have 3 French drains in my basement. My basement's finished. My existing basement is finished. I have 2 French drains in the finished basement, and then I have a French drain in the crawl space of the new addition. So I never had a water issue per se at my house. I think the previous owner did because I inherited it. It was watertight. I mean, he did a great job, whoever did the work for him. But knock on wood, I've never had a drop of water in my basement.
I was more talking about a French drain in the site.
On the outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I have water problems in my backyard, I installed a French drain to direct the water away from
Yeah,
my
I mean,
property.
honestly, it's never been like it's a problem, but it's not like we're walking through swamps every time it rains. In certain areas on the street, it is. You know, and again, I think it's just more, there's a lot of overgrown vegetation there that absorbs a lot of it too. So.
Let's see, you handed up an exhibit with signatures.
Yes.
I took it. Your number 17, I see a 19. What house is this? Yeah, is this 15 over here?
Yeah, that would be, I believe, 15. Yes.
Did you speak to 15?
Yeah, so 15, she's actually here tonight.
Okay.
So when we were doing the work, the original addition, I had spoken to my neighbor who lives in 15, you know, told her what was going on because my existing fence I had to take down, you know, to get equipment back there to dig the foundation. So, you know, I just wanted no one to be alarmed of what was going on, be informed. You know, and I told her that, you know, don't worry about it. We would put it back up. It's a fence. It's my fence. I paid for the fence. I own the fence. But you know, I did go out of my way to you know, let her know that. Also about the patio and all of that. I think you know, she was upset about the roof once it got built. You know, and had mentioned, you know, that she for years has gotten water in her basement since she's lived in the house. You know, and I assured her that, you know, this is going to, honestly, in my opinion, it's going to improve that situation. You know, if you're already getting water, you know, it should hopefully help that situation
How did you think it was going to help?
by diverting it away from the middle of between the two homes there, catching it all in the gutter and rerouting it back into my backyard.
Okay.
Can I just ask one question about that? So when you presented it to your neighbor, did you discuss with her that you were contemplating adding a roof to the plans that the original plans didn't have?
No, because I didn't think it was anybody's business.
And when you decided to add the roof,
Yes.
on your own, as opposed to a retractable awning, did you discuss that with your neighbor?
No.
No, okay.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. I don't have any questions.
Can I ask one more, Bob?
Sure.
The one more question I have, you said that you're a licensed contractor, but you didn't do all the work yourself. Did you have another township licensed contractor working on the property?
Yeah, he's licensed in this township.
And he didn't, permit was required either?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Jessica?
No.
Ed?
I have no question.
Billy?
No other questions, thank you.
Jess?
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You have no other witnesses, right, Jimmy?
No other witnesses, no, and I would move for admission of my exhibits.
Okay, they're admitted. With that, I'll ask if there's anyone present that received certified mail that wishes to testify. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address, please?
My name is Eileen Cuniff, Cunniffe, and I'm at 15 Ellis Road.
What would you like to tell us, Eileen?
I'd like to tell you some slightly different things than what you've heard from Sean. Some will jive and some might sound a little different, but I'd like to sell my side of the story. I live next door, and I would very much hope that you won't approve the request for this variance after the fact, because it does infringe on my rights as a property owner and definitely on my privacy. And I want to share just a few specific conversations that happened in July 2023, the week that roof was added. On Monday, with the framing all done, Sean offered to show me the new addition. So we walked through just the downstairs space. It wasn't finished yet. And after we looked around there, he said that they were going to put a patio on the outside, which I had already figured out because there was a big space for double doors. So I could see that. And the fence had been taken down. That was all fine. I understood that. He also said they'd be reseeding the grass between the house and that whole area that got torn up by the construction because it had been worn away with all the traffic. And then 3 days later, on July 27th, it was late in the afternoon, I was working from home that day, and I heard loud voices outside the windows. My windows were open, which anybody could see. And Sean and his contractor were out there, and Sean was pointing up at the side of the house where the new roof was about to appear, but I didn't know that yet. And they had an argument that went on for probably half an hour. And I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but it was pretty loud and my windows were wide open, so I did hear parts of it. The contractor, Sean was complaining about something or asking him to do something, and the contractor just kept saying no, 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 and it went on for a long time. And Sean was on his phone for part of the argument. And then the last thing I heard at the end of it was Sean saying, if you don't do it, I'm not going to pay you. And that was Thursday, late in the day. Friday morning, early, I had plans to go away for the weekend. My sister picked me up first thing, and as I was leaving, there was a whole lot of new material being delivered, and they were walking up between the two houses to where the porch was going to be. And then Sunday, when I came home, Sunday evening, I had found two surprises. First of all, the patio that had been described to me was now a covered porch. It did go all the way up to the fence line, and it was clear, I think, what the argument had been about on Thursday. And the second surprise was in my mailbox, I found a gift card for $50 to Carlino's with a little note apologizing for the noise, which I think it doesn't take too much imagination to understand that the message was really, don't worry about what's going on over here, just maybe go buy yourself some ravioli and everything will be fine. I did see Sean and Casey the next morning on that Monday morning. I hadn't seen them hardly all summer. But I went over right away and expressed my concern about the roof. I said that I was already concerned about the other big roof on the addition that was sloping down towards my house, and now there was another one. And they basically shrugged their shoulders and said, don't worry, we're going to put gutters on. Although I wasn't convinced that that was really going to be good enough. So we had one last conversation about the roof on the 19th of October in 2023. Sean came to my back door and said that somebody had been complaining about the roof and it was holding up the final permits. And, you know, everybody else he talked to loved it, so he was guessing it was me. And I said I hadn't complained, but I had called the township just to understand what the rules were, what the setback was supposed to be. And so he basically was blaming it on me that they couldn't get the final permits because I had complained when I was really just asking questions and trying to understand what the rules were. He said 3 other things that evening that I think are worth recording. First, he told me that the setback was only 5 feet, not 8, which was not what I had been told by the township. And second, he said that the person he spoke with at the township said that the porch roof, frankly, wasn't a big deal, which again was not consistent with what I'd been told. And third, he said, it's my property, I can do whatever I want. I've lived with this porch roof for 1.5 years now. And again, I'm going to ask, please, that you don't approve this variance. I've got 3 concerns. One is still the stormwater. And I can tell you from last winter and spring, which were very wet seasons, I watched rain pour out of that gutter and onto the fence and over the fence. So I don't know if it's an extra large gutter, but if it is, it's not extra large enough. And the gutter is positioned exactly over the top of the fence. So there's a lot of extra water there when we have bad storms. And my second concern is that the porch roof has basically allowed the Powers family to create an outdoor living space that's practically in my kitchen. My windows are open in the summer. I don't have central air. I just, you know, I like to have the open, fresh air. And they're outside my window now. There are bright pendant lights. There's an outdoor television screen that's angled towards my kitchen window, which is not very far away from my window. And there's an overhead ceiling fan. At least twice last fall, even though there was a severe drought warning, there was a fire pit on the porch, again, right outside my kitchen window with dry trees and shrubs and leaves around. And I know you can't address all of those issues, but I think that if that roof weren't there, some of the extra bells and whistles like the ceiling fan and the hanging lights wouldn't be there anymore either. And my third concern is this isn't the first time that these neighbors have overreached on a project. When they put their fence up some years ago, it ran along the property, you know, down between the 2 houses, but then across the back, they extended it by several feet past their property and into mine. And I didn't say anything about that. That didn't really affect me in the same way that this roof is affecting me, but it was an overreach, and it was something that was never mentioned to me. It was just done. I came home from work one day and there it was. So I just feel like there's a pattern of overreaching here that I think is concerning. The space between our 2 houses was already very narrow, and I think this roof has just made it feel even closer and has, from where, you know, it may be more aesthetically pleasing to their family looking out at it from the inside, but for me looking out at it, it's kind of an invasion of my privacy, and it's not that pleasing to look at that covered over space right outside my window. So I thank you for hearing my concerns. That's what I wanted to say.
Jim, you have any questions?
No, I don't have, I have no questions.
Jesse?
So you mentioned that in a heavy rain, you've seen water dripping down onto the fence. Did you say that it also gets onto your property itself? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming off that gutter. The gutter doesn't look particularly wide to me. But it's dangling, I mean, it's hanging right over the fence.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen water, besides dripping down from the top, do you see water flowing under the fence as well?
In the heaviest rains, I haven't been out there to see it. I mean, all of us do have wet space along the back of the line. That is, I've been told the same thing, that there's a spring back there. But closer to the house, I have had water in my basement. I would say it was worse last winter. It was also a very wet season. But I don't see how those 2 extra roofs pointing toward my house could in any way reduce stormwater.
How long have you been in your home?
Since 2001.
Okay, so you predate
Yeah.
the powers, and
Yep.
so what, in general, what has it been like, other than some, you said that there's always been some wetness, you've gotten some wetness in your basement. Does this go back all the way in your whole time that you've lived in the property?
Does what go back?
The like, water issues on the property?
When it's really, really bad, when the ground is totally saturated, only then.
Could you tell before there was a roof there, when there was some smaller patio that had pre-existed, these folks, were there issues then? That you could tell that was maybe due to the adjoining property that you had nothing to do, that you had no control over?
I didn't think about it that way. It wasn't, it was sort of a patio. It was sort of, but it was an open space. It just had a whole different feel to me from where I'm looking at it.
Right. So do you feel that the roof is now directing more water than had previously been directed before towards your property?
I do. I can't prove that. I can't prove it, but I do feel that.
And so this,
I don't see how it couldn't, actually.
based on their Exhibit A1, their house is approximately 8 feet from the property line. How far is could you approximate how close your house is to the property line? You testified as to how close this all is to your house. Is it more than 8 feet? Is it?
Just about. I haven't actually measured it, but just about, yeah.
Okay.
Just about
To the fence, from my kitchen window to the fence,
about 8 feet.
from my wall, my side wall, yeah.
No other questions. Thank you.
I had one question. You mentioned that previously a fence had been up, and we heard the applicant that did encroach into your property. But we heard the applicant mention that they had to take the fence down for the construction work.
Just that part of it,
I
yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
I was just curious, when the new fence went in, was the part that had infringed onto your backyard, was that relocated to keep the fence on the property line?
The part that got taken down for the construction was just closest to their house. The part that goes onto my property is way at the back of the property line. And it just, the fence runs this way, and there's a second piece that comes this way, and for reasons, again, I don't understand, it extends by several feet past their property.
So the new fence, though, did not address the other problem that you had, the prior problem?
No, and again, that's at the back of the property.
it.
It's not a problem for me, but it was a funny thing to do without ever discussing it.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Ed?
No other questions.
Yes?
No questions.
Thank
Okay,
you.
big questions. Thank you. Is there anyone else that received certified mail? Please come forward. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address, please?
My name is Stuart Soley, S-O-L-E-Y. I live at 19 Ellis Road, on the other side of Sean and Casey's house.
And what would you like to tell us, Stuart?
Just like to tell you, I've been there 33 years, and what they're talking about with the water table's high there. We've all had basement issues with water. I have a sump that takes care of that. And the water that does run off from the back of our houses runs to the back of the yard. And when he was talking about standing water, it's standing during the storms, but it dissipates when that leaves. I've heard the stories as well of the springs back there, and that may have something to do with it. I also, in my earlier life, had been in the construction business myself. I was a contractor in the township. I have looked at his roof, and the runoff from it, the large gutter, and that over the river rock does dissipate to the back of the yard as it's sloped that way in his yard and mine. And I'm actually below grade of their house. So runs off the back and through the yards that way to the side street of Grassland. It's not an issue with anyone's homes that standing water at the back that I know of. I also would like to say that anytime they did anything to the home, they've been upfront with it, notified me. I as well got a Carlino's card for the noise going on during the construction, which was not a problem. The other things we have done together, tree work, removal, pruning, that kind of thing, all up front. They've been terrific neighbors. The roof that is there aesthetically is not ugly, as you can see in the things. And I was just here in support of, hopefully you'll grant the variance for it.
Questions, Jim?
No, thank you.
Jessica?
No questions.
Ed?
I do know, Stu, but Stu, is your property, you have an 8-foot setback on your side yard?
I could not hear you.
Do you have an 8-foot setback on your side yard? From their fence to your,
Well, between their house and mine, there are 2 driveways. So we're not as close physically, the houses, as they are on the other side.
okay,
Between my neighbor on the other side, we're probably, I would say about 8 feet,
yeah, so the.
on each. So it's
the neighbor
probably
on
16
Both
feet.
sides have to have 8 feet. This is being done with only 2 foot left, so it encroaches into the side yard setback. That's the primary issue. And I don't know that everybody encroached 2 feet away, it'd be a very condensed neighborhood, and that's. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bill?
No other questions. Thank you.
Questions?
Right, thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Anyone else that received certified mail? Anyone that received regular mail? Any other residents of Haverford Township? Jimmy? Oh, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address, please?
Michael Fitzpatrick, 48 West Goffview Road.
One second, Michael.
Sure.
And what would you like to tell us, Michael?
I just wanted to stand up here and, just in regards to the public and in support of Sean and Casey. I think that it's no secret that, this is a fabulous township, fabulously built old homes and great young families that are coming here, renovating these old homes, staying here in the township, as you heard from Sean. Their family's growing, they're not moving out, they're staying here in these homes and dedicated to this township and dedicated to, improving in their home and improving the, everybody's home in the township, which I think increases property values for everyone. And I think we all know that from, what we've seen over the past, 6, 7, 8 years with the property values. And I think it's a direct relationship to young families coming in, making improvements to these very well-built homes that have been here for a long time, and it improves the entire township. So,
Okay, thank you, Michael. Jimmy, questions?
No questions.
Yes? No questions. Billy?
No questions.
Ed?
No question.
Jessica?
I have a question. If your adjoining neighbor built a roof in their property that was 1 foot 8 inches from your property line, would you have an issue with that?
In regards to my home, I don't think I would. I know every circumstance is different, but no, I don't think it would. If they were improving their home, which improved the overall, value of the homes and the overall look of the neighborhood, I don't think I would have a problem with it.
Okay, thank you.
Even if you had only an 8-foot side yard?
Well, I think I can tell you my backyard is probably smaller than 8 feet. My neighbor does have a roof structure right behind me, and I don't have any problem with it at all.
Thanks.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Any other residents of Haverford Township? Jimmy?
Yes,
You have a-
if the board please. I appreciate Mrs. Cuniff coming out and saying she has every right to do that. However, there were a couple of things, and I didn't want to interrupt her because I know she came here, you know, not represented, and we wanted to tell what her story, her side of the story was. However, I would ask the board to take note that, you know, we're supposed to be making decisions, and I know this board was, I don't mean that in any disrespectful way, but
No, put it on the record, Jim.
on what I object to is that I think there was a couple different things that she talked about where she really just made implications that were far beyond any facts to support them. And I think that it's important that the board know, I mean, that, and I keep saying that, I don't mean to, I'm used to being on the other side saying it, to talk to the board, but I just think that if this is, although the formal rules of evidence don't apply, the spirit of the rules of evidence apply. So, you know, the fact that maybe there's hearsay might be allowed, but the fact to come up and say, I imply that because it was raining, it might have gotten into my backyard is not. I mean, that is not, that's just something that's not based on fact, or, you know, to say that she heard part of a telephone conversation and then thought that because of that he was telling the contractor that he wasn't paying him, and that had to do with the roof, when she said she really didn't hear the rest of that conversation. Similarly, you know, there was an implication that because she got a Carlino's card for $50, that was some type of payoff, when in fact you heard from the other resident that really what it was a neighborly gesture that the Powers were trying to make up a little bit for noise, because when, we all know when we get things done to our houses, you affect the neighborhood in some way during the construction. Last thing I wanted to ask is if I could just very briefly call Sean back up now, and I won't go into a very, very far, but just a couple of questions.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody's ear.
So, Sean, you heard Mrs. Cuniff, and I don't mean that talking about some of your. Did you ever have a conversation threatening the builder?
Never. I mean, it's honestly, this, you know, I mentioned I'm a licensed contractor in the state. It's my livelihood. I've been a licensed contractor for 13 years. And as a matter of fact, one of Haverford Township's inspectors, who I know very well, sitting in the back of the room, and I think he would tell you, I just don't speak to people like that. You would never, I wouldn't expect anybody to respond to me that way.
Jim, it was, and you
Yeah.
give it the weight it deserves.
Okay.
So
Okay,
you don't
that's
have to-
fine.
Okay, so, let's
Sure.
let's go beyond that.
Yep.
And there was some question, and I believe it was by zoning board member, Mr. Boynton, had, I think it was, or it might have been Mr. LeBarge, about whether you would be willing to put a French or
Yep.
or some other system. Those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, again, the whole, you know, obviously there's multiple uses for what we've done. I'm all about the improvement of, you know, the betterment of everything, right? So if, you know, if there is a system, or there is, you know, some sort of, if there is a water issue and there's a way to remedy it, I'm all about it.
And Mr. Kane noted quite properly that, they'll give weight to.
Yeah,
that.
understand.
So we don't want to get in a back.
No, that's fine, yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like?
Yeah, I think, you know, just listening, there was a picture painted, obviously, that, you know, it was uncomfortable for me because, you know, the fence that Ms. Cuniff was referring to that I encroached on her yard, that couldn't be more false because, as a matter of fact, the neighbor on Clearfield, who my lot and her lot actually back up to, and the Clearfield lots actually straddle both Ellis Road houses, okay? So the houses on Clearfield are narrower, ours are wider. So they're like right in the middle of ours. But he wanted to put a fence up, and he approached me and he said, would you be interested in going in on a fence? We share the rear yard, the rear side. I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about it. And I told him, he was new to the neighborhood. I told him I was a contractor and I had resources that could do it for us if he didn't know a contractor. So we worked that out, and I know he approached Ms. Cuniff. She wasn't interested in participating, which is fine, it's her right. But the part that encroaches her yard is the rear of his yard, that, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so I just want you to know that. I'm not out here like a cowboy just trying to take over people's, you know, area. So that's all.
And you would accept as a condition, French drain or some other type of.
Absolutely. You know, I know one of the concerns too that Ms. Cuniff said was, you know, the visibility into our porch area. And, you know, she mentioned aesthetically the lights that she doesn't like and the ceiling fan. I mean, I would happily put, you know, vegetation along the fence line so that's no longer visible. French drain, any of that is conditioned, absolutely.
And there's about a 2-foot setback left.
Yeah, from the fence line, and then I believe from the fence to 15 Ellis Road, I believe it's about 12 feet to the house, touching the house.
15.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
So can I just ask one question? I just want to make sure. So you installed a fence that's not on the property line?
I'm sorry?
You said you were 2 feet from, the fence has a 2-foot gap to the property line.
Yeah, the fence isn't on the actual property line. Fence is, it's close to on the property line. It's.
And the township approved a fence going in that's not on the property line? Because I thought that the township has a clear view that fences need to be on the property line because it creates no man land.
Well, I think when you know the surveys are done and like the plot lands, it's all, there's a little bit of subjection there, and they'll
Well, a
tell you.
surveyor would.
Even the surveyors tell you though, they just look for old markers.
Yeah.
So I think it was done. I mean, I think it's on or it's closer to my house.
So where would you put this French drain or buffer planning that you're talking?
No, I'm just saying if
No,
if
I'm
it
just
was.
wondering how would you actually do it other than putting it on her property?
Well, when we were talking about where the water detonates on the rocks and all, I think you could probably dig out a pit there.
Oh, so
Put a-
you're not talking about the side of.
No,
the
no, no,
patio.
no.
You're
I'm just putting a
talking on
drum.
the rear of your patio.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. If the runoff concern there, I would, you know, I think it's a big drum that goes in the ground 3 feet, and then it pumps the water out.
So when you were talking about planting a visual or audible buffer of bushes or something.
Yeah.
You're talking about putting it on her property.
Yeah, that would be on her, yes, on her
Okay,
side.
now I'm following.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay, I apologize.
Any other questions for the board?
Mr. Kane, may I?
Yes.
So when I probably didn't ask my question clearly. When I was referencing the French drain, I meant before you went to the lengths of adding the roof to address the issues, did you investigate doing underground drainage to deal with it before you went to the lengths of adding the roof?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you,
because honestly, it didn't seem to be that big of an issue at that point.
did you explore in the design phases putting this outdoor amenity in the rear where you have room and where you wouldn't have needed a variance?
You know, we really didn't, and I think it was just the way that the architect originally drew the layout of the interior of the house, how it flowed, and no. So to answer your question, I don't think we did consider that.
Thank you.
Yep.
I don't have any more questions, Bob.
Hold on a second. Or Jesse.
I see what you're thinking, yeah.
Question?
Yeah. Sean?
Yeah.
Here, come up for a second. So I'm looking at A5. That little white appears to be PVC tubing of some sort coming up through the
Oh,
slate.
that's just for for if we wanted to put a sink out there. We did run underground, see.
Okay, but it's got nothing to do with water drain or anything. Okay. Anybody else?
Was this, I'm sorry, was this underground plumbing part of the original permit?
No. I mean, it's just, all it is a 2-inch piece of PVC not connected to anything. It actually detonates into my sump pump.
Okay. Nothing else? Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else, Jim?
Just a quick closing.
Yep. Of course.
So we're here tonight, and I know that the job of the board is to examine the code, and residents are supposed to abide by the code when it's possible. However, sometimes, especially in older, well-developed neighborhoods, zoning codes are hard to totally abide by. And the courts have recognized that all the way through the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. In the Hertzberg decision, I'm sure that you folks have heard about Hertzberg more than you want to hear about it, but the courts continue to follow that line of reasoning, that you don't need to prove the type of hardship that you need to prove for a regular variance when what you're asking for is a dimensional variance rather than a use variance. What we have here is we're asking for a dimensional variance, and the yards granted, are not very wide to begin with. However, in this instance, there was a slate patio there, and that patio was underlaid with cement. So one of my arguments to you would be first that a variance would be appropriate under Hertzberg. And Mr. Powers has said if there's any conditions that he could meet to satisfy the board, that he's not affecting the neighbor, because, nobody wants to be fighting with their neighbors, and we'd like to get it resolved. But at the same time, you've heard some of the other neighbors say what a nice addition this is, and what it looks like, and you hear the way it functions with 5 young children. So my argument would be that since you had the slate patio there before with the cement underneath it, creating an impervious surface, that you had a non-conformity in the side yard to the extent that the patio was there before. And whether the roof, the open air roof was there or not, wouldn't matter if at least to the point of the non-conformity. And then once you got beyond where the non-conformity, and it would be a legal non-conformity because it was established before the present zoning code. And once you got got to where the line is with the legal nonconformity, then the difference between that and what is being asked for now is really a de minimis nature, because it's only about 2 feet at that point. So a couple of and again, with respect to not getting the permits, Mr. Powers came here and actually, did a mea culpa and is sorry for doing it, and has paid a fine for it, and will pay, the permit fees if there is permit fees related to it. And, we'll accept any conditions to keep this patio and roof that he has now. And again, saying that once you have that non-conforming line established, then up to that point, it wouldn't matter because the law is such that if you have the non-conformity on the ground, it can go straight up with respect to a setback. Just can't go any further in. And we'd say that it was the further in that we're coming is a de minimis variance and one that would be accepted by the Hertzberg courts as a benefit to improving an older house to be, fit with more modern conditions. And thank you all for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jim. Usually no, but yes.
Sorry, just to be clear, I'm the only neighbor who's impacted by this roof, so I'm not commenting at all on the other addition. I would not be happy with more landscaping put onto my property to block out the porch, because part of the problem with the roof is it's already taken more of the natural light away from the side of my house than the addition already took, and so that would be problematic. The patio that's there now is quite different than what was there before. What was there before was a small area of slates that had the barbecue on it, basically, next to the very large deck where the addition is now. But the rest of that around that was grassy area. It wasn't paved, it wasn't covered. So it was a small area of slates that is now a much larger concrete and slate area that's covered. So I think those are just a couple more points that I think should be stated.
Eileen, what else was out there before? A barbecue? Were there chairs, a table?
No. Because there was a large deck. There was a beautiful deck off the back of the house, and all of the, all the furniture was there.
Questions, Jim?
Were there umbrellas on the deck out the back?
Yeah.
Okay. What else would be on there?
Furniture.
How far did that go out?
It's about the size of where the addition is, but it was further away from my house. It wasn't that close to my kitchen. Thank you.
I have a question
Jess?
for Jonathan.
Pardon me?
Then.
Oh, go ahead.
Jonathan, could you just remind us in the zoning code if a patio needs to require with setbacks and what the difference in the code is between a patio and a roof?
Patio setback.
And would a roof structure have a setback or be considered building?
The roof, the porch roof structure would qualify as a structure, and any structure would be required to meet the requirements of a setback.
Thank you.
Ed?
That was my question. Thank you.
Billy?
No other questions. Thank you.
Jess?
No questions.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, Jim?
No, thank you.
Okay. With that, we'll close the record on this case, and a decision will be rendered either this evening. In the event we're unable to render a decision this evening, one would be rendered at our next regularly scheduled meeting on February, the 20th, right? February 20th. We're just going to go off the record. We're not going to adjourn. We'll go off the record. Jeff, please. All right, we'll resume the meeting of the Haverford Township Zoning Hearing Board. A decision will be rendered on the case we just heard at our next regularly scheduled meeting on February 20th. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.